Good morning, everyone. I thought maybe I will kind of give a little bit of updates on my travel or while I was gone. So for my selfish reasons, so that I don't have to repeat everyone who is who will be, asking, what were you doing during those 6 months that I was gone? So after I left New Mexico, I traveled and taught a little bit in some part of the country. I was in Denver and California, Virginia, and Canada, and Reno. And then I went to Nepal. I stopped in Hong Kong for a couple of days to visit a friend there, a very close friend who is a resident teacher there that I've known for a long time. And then I was in Nepal. We had FPMD Geshe conference. It's first after our teacher Lama Rinpoche passed away. And also this was also one of his wish. He had expressed to wanting to have this conference few years before he passed away. So also it's a way of fulfilling his wishes that he wanted. And also it was good for all the Geshes in the FPMD centers to come together and do prayer and together, as well as to share their experiences and get to know each other. So it was attended by over 33 Geshes and 2 Geshimas. I cannot recollect how many countries, maybe 10 countries or something. And it was 1 week conference. One day we had a big Hayagriva puja talk, which Rinpoche also like to do very often, to clear the obstacles and whatever obstacle there might be for the FMT project and all the students of the FMT in general, and then of course for the world. And then we did also one day the prayers of the Manjushri names in front of Rinpoche's body together, and some other prayers. And then we had 3 days of meetings, presentation from some of the FMD board members. There were 5, and 4 of them have present. Only 1 couldn't make it. So there were presentation from FMD point from different, and then there were some discussions. And so, and then there were 2 days pilgrimage around the Nepal. Some Geshe has been in Nepal before. Some of them have not been there. So it was successful and very good conference. The FMT felt it was successful, good. The Geshe felt good, and they enjoy, and they express it will be nice to have more conference more often. So, and I think it was really nice gathering together. Some of Geshes, they know each other. Some of them, they don't know each other. And some of them, we know each other, but it's like, hi, that's all, That's it, really hi, that's all. So we never had a time really spending together and talking or knowing each other. So it was also good to have that opportunity for everyone to know each well as being part of same organization, same families. Um, so there's sense of families feelings. I think that it helped create that a little bit as well. And I was a little busy before the conference and after the conference because I was in charge of one of the myself and two other um, teachers and monk were appointed to organize the meeting. So, so we have to, even a month before we have to communicate with the FMD and the Geshes, what agenda they want to have, and all of that, and what they are going to present, and timing, schedulings, and then trying to translate all these materials that the FMD is going to present. They have to be translated in Tibetan. So that was a lot of preparations. And then after the meetings, getting all the minutes, again, translating and sending to everyone, and also to communicating those who have not been able to participate. Most of the Geshe participated, except I think 8 or 13. Some due to the age, traveling is not easy, and some of them they had some issue with their documents and the visa. So again, sending them about the meetings and minutes, everything, and then I can gathering their input. And so, and then also, it also in January, it also happens 1 year since my dad passed away. And so for the Tibetans, the first day, and of course 7 weeks, especially the 49, and then 1 year is kind of important. So again, we had a ceremony for my dad, and probably there was around 200 families, relatives, and friends who came for that, and we invited monks to do the prayers, the ceremony whole day, and everyone who came there they also participate in some way, reciting the mantras, even though they cannot participate fully with the actual ritual itself. And so that went very well, and it was also time for all our families, all the siblings to come together, because we are kind of spread out. I'm here, my youngest brother, he lives in Australia with his families. At least at the moment, 3 of the brothers, they live in Nepal, so that is, so we all came together, and it was also first time after that ceremony, then all our brothers and their family, we got together and went for a lunch and have some time really celebrating. Actually, it was first time actually we all came together celebrating. We all came together a couple of times before for side time, when my mom passed away, when my father passed away. And then we couldn't, when they are there, I couldn't participate. So anyway, so that was I think very wonderful. Felt very good. And then I was in Europe for 2 months, traveling and teachings, and it was a very hectic schedules. Probably one of the most hectic schedule I had so far. Because last year I have to cancel some of the teachings in Europe because I have to leave in the middle of tour. My dad passed away, and then after that I restarted again. In the middle of that, Rinpoche passed away again. I went. So and even this year, I had to cancel some of them because I couldn't fit all the center, and we're trying to fit as much as possible. So weekend at one center, weekday at another center, weekend at one center, weekend at another. So I was constantly traveling and teachings, weekend at one center and travel one day, and then the next 3 days teaching in one. So that was a little bit kind of hectic. Normally, I have 1 week in one center. That is a little bit, you have a little bit more time to relax as well. So, but it was good, and then after that, I went back to Nepal, and I had some time, so I decided to go to the mountains. And I kind of combined pilgrimage and a little bit trekking. I wanted to do the pilgrimage to go and visit Rinpoche's birthplace. I've never been. And I also wanted to go to the Rinpoche cave, where his previous life spent most of his later life, 20 years, in that cave. And when this Rinpoche reincarnation came, then they built a small monastery close to the cave, and it's called Lodo Monastery Gompa now. And that is where Kopan started at the very beginning, with 25 monks there. At the very beginning, I think they come for the classes during the day, and then they go back home because they don't have the place for them to stay and live. And slowly they build small rooms, but winter is very harsh. And so then only they can have in summer. Summer they have class, winter they go home. And then slowly they move during the winter to Kathmandu. Summer there for a few years, maybe a couple of years. And it became too expensive. And then they decided, they found this Kopan, the land, very far away from the city at that time. Now it's part of the city. And so they found that land, and then that is where the Kopan started, the present Kopan started. And so I wanted to go, also, so that was, so I wanted to pay the pilgrimage to Rinpoche's village where he was born, and then from there to the Lodo, is maybe 4 or 5 hours of walking distance. And so then I wanted to also go to Lodo and spend few days there, do some practice at their place. Also visit Rinpoche's sister. She's a nun, and she's also been taking care of that monastery for, I don't know, 40, 50 years. And she's in, I think, almost 80. I think maybe over 80, 82 or something. And then, So anyway, I also wanted to visit her as well. So that is where I went, and I also wanted to kind of feel the place, maybe for my own retreat in the future as well. Um, and so I went there and I did some trekking before that in same area. In that, so there in that area there's whole 3 peaks in the Mount Everest region. So I did that. Um, as many of you know, Steve Nadu. We started, but after 1 week he got a little bit of altitude sickness, so he had to come down. And I said I will also come, but he said, carry on myself because. So then I did my, and that was really nice. I like to be in the mountains, and so that was. But when I came to the Lodo, the Lodo, the plant are similar like here, small bushes, juniper like that. And it was during the spring and windy, so I had really bad allergies. I was just doing fine until there, you know. So I was until then I was just doing there, and that was where I was to spend most time. And but those 3-4 days was really bad for my allergy, my eyes itching, um, nose running all the times. Um, so that wasn't so inspiring for my retreat there. uh, so so that after that, then I came back to Nepal, Kathmandu, and then we had the Rinpoches 1 year. Or before that, then we had also 1 year after my uncle passed away, because he passed away in March last year. In same, ceremonies, celebrations, and then Rinpoche's anniversary, and again there was big events. We have not just one day, many days. One day we have Yamadaka self-initiation. The next day we have Vajrayogini self-initiations. The Yamadaka self-initiation led by the monks. The Vajrayogini self-initiation led by the nuns. But of course, everyone's participating. And then the actual day, then we have very extensive Chakra Sambara Lama Chopa talk the whole day. That was participated by not only the monks and many students from all over the world who came, and also so many others. High Lamas came, and from all the other monasteries from Nepal as well as from India. The abbot of the Sarache came, the abbot of Sarame came, the abbot of the Gume Tantric College came, the abbot of the Seguba Tantric College came, Gandhi Tiba was there. Gandhi Tiba was participating in all the different, all the different days of different ceremonies. And then after that, Gandhi Tiba had led 5 days of Atsuta retreat, where many people also came from all over, maybe over 200 people. And I also participated in that. And so again, it was also very nice for me to spend a little time in Gandhi Rinpoche, not only during the retreat, but also, when I do some circumambulations in the stupas around the Kopan stupa, or also in the Bodha stupas, and also, invite him for lunch in some places, just to kind of be out of, because of his age and his knees is mostly in the room, in a wheelchair, so he cannot kind of go so much. So that was also a very wonderful time for me to spend some time with him. And again, you never know. Even though we wish and pray for them to have many, many more lives, continue, but life is such, you never know. Someone just seems just fine today, and then tomorrow they are no more. And especially when you reach certain age, small instance can be devastating. I think that's what happened with my father. Even though he seems just fine, and many others. And then, after that, and I stopped by in Munich when I was coming back. Did one weekend teaching and then visit a friend that I, Rinpoche, from Kopan, but he disrobed and he has just normal family life. So I spent a few days with him. And then here, and then Khenso Rinpoche came, and as we all know, we had a wonderful, amazing weekend. That generation of the lamas, very few left now. Every monasteries, only 2, 3, 4 left. Sera, Devung, Ganden, where they used to have hundreds of them in each of those monasteries. Their generations in each of these big monasteries, very few left, and even them aging. For example, Gandhi Rinpoche, he is 90 now, so I think it will be difficult for him to travel far away, even though he does travel and teach still a little bit. Khenso Rinpoche is already 85, and traveling long distance. Even I'm noticing that. Even in my age, I'm noticing the differences, which I didn't felt before. In the last few years, I've been feeling when I'm staying in that seat for a long time, the pain. I thought maybe I'm getting too skinny. Maybe there's no flesh on my butt. I didn't try to touch my butt to see whether there's a flesh. I feel like only bone there, but that is something that I've not felt before. Now I'm starting to feel a little bit the differences, with the age. So, so when you reach that age, traveling is not so easy, and especially such a long distance, and with such time zone changes, So I think I feel very personally very happy to be able to provide that opportunity for the students who are interested, because as I mentioned before, it's the first time that we have had any high yoga tantra, and so for those who are interested, who feel ready and interested, at least they have that opportunity. and to be able to create that condition and to be able to provide that, it feels like you have had the opportunity to have the whole path for those who are again, interested and ready, And so with that, I feel like accomplished something, it's like, there's, so anyway, I also feel very, very grateful and very happy. And as you all know, I'm always kind of saying, don't rush for everything. And that is, I think, why it took more than 25 years for many of you, my approach is generally, not to rush, and so, but at least, now there is, of course, it's not the last opportunity, but it's very rare to have that opportunity from that generation of the lamas. Probably you might be able to have those opportunity with the younger generation of lama in the futures. And that generation of lamas, they have different experience from what they went through, their situations. Not only because they have to escape and that, but even the way and the condition in the monastery is very different. At the moment in all the monasteries, you have much more better conditions. You don't have to struggle so much, housing, food. But those lamas who study in Tibet, some of them went, they studies without anything to eat for days sometimes, and they never give up, even though it was so challenging and so difficult. But they didn't leave the monastery and they didn't give up their studies and practice. Some of teachers, they say, because they run out the samba and the roasted barley, and the family are not there, and because they run out because of the hunger, there is a lot of stomach pain, and sometimes they had this stone, what you call, sometimes you put on the roof stone tiles, maybe stone tiles, or they put here and they tie so that they don't feel the pain. That is how they used to, and they didn't have light in their room. Some of them, if they can afford, they can have maybe butter lamp. Sometimes they couldn't afford butter lamp. So with the incense, they burn incense, and with that they read like this. They didn't have text for everyone. So one text, one page you memorize, read one page you memorize, and we share one, and then next page and so they went through so much hardship, incredible hardship. Relatively, even though we went little hardship when we were young, compared to what hardship they went through is nothing. That is how hardship they went through, so much hardship. Despite all this hardship, now younger generation it will be very hard for them to not to give up in such hardship, and to be able to continue to study and practice with such hardship is, but those generations, there was so determinations. There is so much determinations, and never gave up, even with all these challenges. They took in positive. And when you go through that, and when you learn from that, sometimes I feel those are the best practice that you go through and you learn. And sometimes those you even more from the theory and more from meditation. You learn some of them really. Sometimes that is also how I feel. Some of the things I learned, it wasn't through meditations, it wasn't through theory, our own practical conditions. Being in the monasteries, like for example, you know, you have to share a room with maybe sometimes 20 monks, sometimes 10, sometimes 7, sometimes 3, 2, and everyone has different, one want to go bed at 10, one want to go bed at 11, one want to go bed 12, one want to go bed earlier, one want to study more, one want to study, and everyone has to be flexible. Everyone has to learn to adjust to each other's. It's not about what I want. I want to go bed at 10, and I can go, and I should be okay to be light on. I should be learning to be okay with the light on because he wants to study. I should be okay for someone who is reciting the text they have memorized and loudly by the window when you want to go to sleep. So all these kind of conditions you learn, and through that, make who you are, And through that, it's like the rocks that has been shaped by the water, running of the water or different elements. And when I look back, a lot of things that I've learned in my life, and that which has been very helpful and beneficial in my life, I think many of them learn in that way. So those are life experiences, teachings, and as I mentioned, those generation, those lamas, they're incredible. They went through all of that. So I think, yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, so to have that opportunity from that generation's lama becoming less and less, not only here, even in India, Nepal, becoming less and less. So to have that opportunity was great. So yeah, I think, and I think that's more or less all update in the short, without going any much details, but summarize of what I have been doing till now, since I was gone. Okay. So yeah, maybe we can do that. Yes. Maybe why don't we do at the prayers, and when the mandala comes. Oh yeah, because we don't. Okay, normally we just do the refuge. Okay, yeah, we can do. No, we can do the mandala. Okay.
Sajipogi She
Do.
taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. I think there's one more verse to the mandala.
Good. I was a good keeper. I catch it.
Jetsun Lama one.
Ma tam ba ke nam ki chu wen kala ke ze chu sin ti chi da sam be do je ze ma da ke che ke cha pa do so e tang go na ma ma me Sangye chedan soge chonam la chanchu pato dane kyapsu che tagi chinye ge pe sonam ki enje sangye duba sangye chedan soge chonam la chanchu pato dane kyapsu che tagi chinye ge pe sonam ki Yola Enje Sangye Doba Sho Sangye Chedan Soge Chonam La Changju Pato Dane Chapsu Chi Dagi Chonye Gepe Sonam Ki Yola Enje Sangye Doba Sho Anje Dujanye Sone Tawadam Jebang Beje Tambe Shune Denjebe Kodam De La Chapso. So from today, I don't know how long it will take, but we will start a Lamrim, and of course there are so many different Lamrim teachings, and that also just show how important Lamrim is. That is why there is so many commentaries by all great different teachers and masters. And the one we are going to use, the one we are going to use is by the Third Dalai Lama. It's quite short, and it's Essence of Refined Gold, is the title of that Lamrim. You know, Lam Tsongkhapa himself wrote 3 Lamrims, you know, extensive, middle, and short, you know. And then among some of the well-known commentaries on Lamrim by other masters, you know, Chambe Shalung by the 5th Dalai Lama, and by 3rd Dalai Lama, this one, the Essence of Refined Gold, you know, Nyurlam and Delam by 2 Panchen Lamas, you know, Quick Path is Nyurlam, yeah, quick Path. Delam is easy path. I don't know exact what translation they might have. And then there are also many others, Lamrim commentaries. And in all the different Buddhist traditions, in Tibetan Buddhist traditions, in some other tradition, they might not call the title Lamrim, but actually it's same. In Nyingma traditions, the word of my perfect teachers is one of the main texts, and the same like Lamrim, you know, and that is one of the main requirements and one of men's. And in Kagyu traditions, the Lamrim is Tabotarken, the ornament of the liberations, in Sakya, Lamde, Um, so, and before that, in some Kadamba traditions, there was called Tenrim. I saw one text by Kadamba Geshe Sharawa, and the title of Tenrim, and it means, the stages of the teachings. So here we call stages of the path, the Lamrim, and that title is the stages of the teachings of the Dharma. So they might have used different titles in different traditions and that, but the basic, the teachings and practice is more or less same. All of those teachings are based on Adisha's lamp to the path. That's the root path. So yeah. And I decided to do this because it's not so long, this Lamrim. It's quite short, but again, it covers the. And with each of those different commentaries, they have different. The way presenting sometimes might be slightly different. Sometimes in some Lamrim, there's more details. In another Lamrim, there's not much details. But you find more detail in these sections where you might not find detail in another section, other Lamrim. That is why when we studied different commentaries. In some, when you read the different commentaries, sometimes it looks like it is same, but in certain sections, important sections, then you find in one, there is not so much explanation or detailed explanation, and they will find that detail and more explanation in another one. So when you read all the different commentaries, then you get the whole things, something was missing here, or maybe I wouldn't say missing or not gone detailed, just mention it. Then others you find more detailed explanations and like that. And also sometimes not only that, and so that is and I had the in terms of the lineage, I had the fortune to receive this oral, not only just oral, but with the explanations, transmission from His Holiness Dalai Lama, when he did 18 Lamrim commentaries, 18 of them over 5 years. And yeah, I wish I didn't miss one day, one session, 1 year. He started in 2012, 2013 I came here, and I went for that teaching. Since then, I all went to those teachings and didn't miss all of them. Because for us, it's not just study. The transmission is very important. I think maybe in modern time, maybe sometimes people feel it's not so important. If you can study by yourself, reading books, YouTube, whatever, if you get the knowledge, that seems to be enough, good enough. But from the traditions that we come in, and that I also kind of believe is, in order to have the experience and the realization, not just the knowledge, just not knowing, but in order to have the experience and realization from those knowledge through practice, meditation, the transmissions, the oral transmission, the lineage, it plays very important role. Very important role. Otherwise, you can be very learned and very learned, through such studies. You can be very learned. You can have all the understanding intellectually. You can have all the explanations, everything, but you might not have really transformations. And what we want is transformations. Otherwise, now with the Google, everything's there. If it's just about information, you can find most of information there. Whether some of them might not be exactly accurate, correct, but still you can find quite. But just that having information, being like a Google, having a computer, all the informations, doesn't serve the purpose of studying. The very purpose of studying and practice is comes from our mind, And for that, I do believe, the lineage and the transmissions does have big role in that. So at least I have that. The lineage and transmissions. Okay. And among the 14 Dalai Lamas, some of the most well-known Dalai Lamas, the first Dalai Lamas, third Dalai Lamas, fifth Dalai Lama, seventh Dalai Lama, 13th Dalai Lama, and 14, of course. Some of other Dalai Lamas, you don't hear so much about them. Some of them passed away at quite a young age, and some of them, but those are some of the key Dalai Lama which play a role in preserving the Dharma and spreading the Dharma and preserving the Dharma. And third Dalai Lamas, he played a big role in preserving, spreading the Dharma in Mongolia, not only in Tibet, in Mongolia as well. And he said that Dalai Lama, the name Dalai Lama is a Mongolian. That is the first time. I think in Dalai, I don't know exactly. Maybe now we call Dalai, but I think in Mongolia it sounds a little bit different. And that means oceans, ocean of wisdom, and they give that because of his incredible wisdom. So, so so third Dalai Lama went to Nepal. He consecrated some of those holy stupas in Nepal, and he went through Nepal to the Mongolia. He was invited them there to, after I think Kublai Khan, I think it was grand or grandson of the Jensen Khan, and after he died, they were cremating and they were build a stupa and like that, and so he was invited for those to lead those ceremony and as well as to help to give teaching in that, and so he was main kind of help to preserve and spread the Dharma. And then also at that time is that he, at the age of 46 something, his fame of his knowledge, fame spread everywhere around that area, not only Tibet. The Empire of China also invited him. They built a palace for him, or his place to stay. They built a stupas and again invited him, and he couldn't go. He couldn't go. So it is he did the consecration of the stupa from Tibet itself. And he sent, and so anyway, so that was the third Dalai Lama, the author of this text. Not going so much details, just a little bit of that. Sometimes it's good to know the author, so who that author is. Also, that help us to connect with the text, the teachings of that author. If we know the author, who the author is, a little bit. Okay. In my mind, I've been kind of struggling a little bit whether I should read all the word by word or not. Of course, normally when we do the oral transmission, then we read all of them. But I might, because it's only 30 pages, so at least you get that, So it starts, of course, the title is The Essence of Refined Gold by the Third Dalai Lama, Sonam Gyatso. And then there's the outline. The outline will come slowly. In the first page, there you have all outline. So that one, I think, is put by the, so I don't need to go that part. And so the nature of the instruction. So first is the, like any scriptures, any text, it's traditions to pay respect to the holy objects. And that holy object can be different. It could be your teachers, it could be the lineage, your direct teachers, sometimes it's lineage gurus, sometimes it's your personal deities, idams, sometimes it's the Buddha, so different author pay different respect, but always starting with a homage to the holy objects. So here it starts with to the feet of Venerable Lama, embodiment of the three jewels. Profoundly I turn for refuge. Bestow upon me your transforming powers. So here he's making homage to the direct and lineage lamas, guru, who embody the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and he's paying homage by taking refuge in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and then requesting to bless, the power to transform, the author himself, as well as to transform any beings who ever study and these scriptures, whoever studies and practice that, so that they can be transformed from studying, reading, studying, practicing whatever related to that, so that the mind gets transformed. Because that is the whole purpose of the practicing the Dharma. And I think that is also what Rinpoche quite mentioned during the weekend. He mentions, he said he didn't go to one center, he stopped, he said, I'm not coming there anymore, because even after so many visits, he didn't see any transformations, but instead they are getting more and more kind of proud, and then he feel that there's no purpose of going him there. The purpose of going there is to teach. And through teachings, the audience, the disciples, they practice. And through practice, you need to have some transformation. Of course, you wouldn't have immediate transformations. You wouldn't have a big transformation immediately, but over the years, there should be at least small transformations, little change from before you have met the Dharma. So that is. So then here for spiritually inclined beings, who are interested in spiritual, those who have inclined towards spiritual, who want to engage in the spiritual, interested in that, who wish to take advantage of opportunity afforded by this human life, Now we have got this such a human birth, with all the conducive conditions to practice the path, the Dharma, if we want. Not every beings have that condition and that opportunity. Not even all the human beings have that condition and opportunity. There are so many parts in the world where people want to study, practice a particular spiritual path or Dharma. and they don't have. Sometimes it's due to the law of the countries, where you have no freedom of speech, no freedom religious or spiritual. Sometimes you are in conditions that even there is that you are pressured by your family members or friends or that, So then even you have interest and inclined, you are unable to do it because there is too much pressure by the family, by the society and so forth, Sometimes they don't have that kind of pressure, but at the same time, there's no available of the Dharma in that place, So therefore, not everyone has that fortune. And so at least we have that fortune and opportunity. And so therefore, we should make most of it. So here, who want to take advantage of, who want to make use of such opportunity, and that is given by the human life or afforded by the human life, then what you need to do is, life is treatise on Lamrim tradition of meditation. So here saying, so then for those who want to take advantage, then you should study, learn, and practice the Lamrim traditions, the stage of the path. The tradition known as stages on the spiritual path leading to enlightenment. Lamrim, Lam means path, Rim means stages. The stages of path. Stage of path for what? Enlightenment. So here, in Lamrim, it explains systematically, stage by stage, progressively to the enlightenment. When we don't study the Lamrim, even you might have heard the Dharma many times. You might have heard teaching here and there. You have studied here and there, all of that. But sometimes we get lost how it fits within the stages of the path. It's like you have heard about different states in these countries, and different cities, different national parks, all of that. But you cannot fit where they are and how it leads there. You don't have the road map, the geography map. With the Lamrim, then it explains how these teachings fit here, that, and how one progress from one stages of the path or one stage of practice to the next stages very systematically. That help us. Otherwise, sometimes we get lost. We hear all teaching, but when we try to put it in the practice, where does it fit? Does it come before, after? Or whether these teachings or this path fit within the whole roadmap of the whole enlightenment. So Lamrim give you that, help him to give you that roadmap. It makes us much more easier for us. Otherwise, you have to be very smart to figure out all of that. You have to be very expert and very, like, for example, if you read the sutras, just to give you an example, many of you have some exposure to some sutras, not all the sutras. Heart Sutra, Namankata Sutras, the sutras of kindness of the three jewels, Golden Light Sutra, all different sutras we recite. When you read that, it's hard to know us how that fit different systematically to enlightenment. Do you see it? Even Heart Sutra, it's hard to know how it explains its path without the commentaries, relying on commentaries. Of course, you can understand a little bit from there, but in terms of the whole path, whole map, and that is where Lamrim. Once you study Lamrim and you study different, these teachings or these facts, these subjects fit here and is part of this practice. It fit in, this is part of the practice of small scope, or this is part of the middle scope, great scope. This is how it fits. This is the extension of this path, and so on. So there is always that you can always come back. You can study all those different, and you can come where it fits, which path, which practice, which path. So it really help and support in when we want to practice, to give that really good roadmap, you know. And the stages of spiritual path to what? To fully enlightenment, you know, leading to fully enlightenment. So it is a path not only for, you know, feeling good and well-being of this life. It is not only for only just better life, future better life, but is a path, the spiritual path to achieve our highest potential, the fully awakened or fully enlightened state. So then what is the Lamrim traditions? And so so it is the essence of all the teaching of the Buddhas, you know. So the Lamrim is the very essence of all the Buddha's teachings, you know. There are more than 100 canon of the Buddha's teachings. We have here, you know, 100 volumes in this side. And then commentary by the earlier Indian masters, more than 200 volumes, you know. And sometimes we might be too overwhelmed, you know. 100 volume, 200 volume, 300 volume, each of those volumes, you know, 300 pages, 400, 500, 600 pages, some of them. But if we try to bring them, summarize all of the essence from that, then it comes to the Lamrim. All those teachings. And so that is where, you know, it is the essence of all the teachings of the Buddhas. The one path traveled by the high beings of the past, present, and futures. So Lamrim is the path that all the Buddhas of the past rely on to achieve enlightenment. It's the path that present Buddhas rely on, depending on to achieve enlightenment. It's the path that all the future Buddhas will rely on to travel to reach the fully enlightenment. So as in the Heart Sutra says, you know, the wisdom realizing emptiness, you know, is that all the Buddhas of 3 times, 10 directions rely on to achieve enlightenment. And through the path of, you know, 5 paths, gade para samgade, gradually, you know, going higher and higher transformations into achieve enlightenment. So similarly, that is the legacy of the masters, Nagarjuna and Asanga. So after the Buddha, you know, especially in Mahayana traditions, in Mahayana, Nagarjuna and Asanga, the 2 Indian masters of the Buddha past who play a big role in, again, preserving, reviving, and spreading the Mahayana teachings. Asanga, you know, was more focused on the wisdom side. No, Asanga, Nagarjuna, and the Asanga focused more on the method side. Do you get it? Even though Nagarjuna touch on the method as well, but he doesn't go so details. Most of his writing are more on wisdom path. His writing are more on wisdom path. So he played a big role in that. Asanga's writing, even also he covered the wisdom, but again, he's focused more on the method side. because wisdom side, Nagarjuna is already elaborated and extensively in that. And so Asanga emphasizes more on the method side. So those with those two, then it helps to preserve, renew, revive, as well as to spread the Mahayana teachings of the union of the wisdom and the method. So therefore, those two masters. So legacy of the Nagarjuna, religion or the spiritual of supreme people traveling on the ground of omniscience, and it is the path or spiritual path, those who want to travel to the ground of the path to enlightenment of omniscience. The unabridged synthesis of all the practice, complete practice. Sometimes there are texts or teachings that is pure Dharma, but is not complete. Sometimes it just cover the path of middle scope. Sometimes it just cover the path of small scope. Sometimes some texts, they might just cover the path of greater scope. Sometimes they might just cover the method side. Sometimes they might just cover the wisdom side. Or sometimes they just cover the sutra side and not the tantra. Sometimes they might just cover the tantra side and not the sutra side. So it's not complete, but the Lamrim here is the complete path. It covers all of them. So that is where the unabridged synthesis of all the practice included within the three levels of spiritual applications. Those are the practice of small scope, middle scope, and great scope. This is the Lamrim tradition. That is what Lamrim tradition is. That is what Lamrim is. And that is what the Lamrim tradition is. Again, here the authors give a little bit of authors explaining or giving first explaining what the Lamrim, because we are talking about Lamrim tradition. So he is using what is the Lamrim. So he's giving little introductions or little explanation what the Lamrim is. And then he talks about the unique qualities of this Lamrim tradition or Lamrim. Okay. So that when you understand the unique tradition, unique qualities of that, then maybe sometime when we understand the uniqueness or the qualities of that, we might be inspired to study more, study and practice more. So that is where the author. Lamrim is especially profound aspect of the Dharma, for it is a traditional practice found in origins. So again, sometime, nowadays we might have sometime so-called Buddha's teachings, but sometimes they don't have authentic sources back if you go to back to the sutras. It's made up by some teachers, And those, when teachers make up, sometimes they are good, sometimes they might not be good, Whereas Buddha's teachings is something not only Buddha gave over the time, more than 2,600 years, all the different masters have gone through and they have applied that method and they have actualized it. So it is like, same experiment done over and results come to same. Do you get it? It is the same method the Buddha gave. The method Buddha gave and Buddha used the tools for his enlightenment. And not only he used it, then over the years, all those great Indian master and other master from all over the world who follow, they also use them, and they also found that method also helped them to achieve those results. So there is authenticity in that is proven. That's it. And so that is why, otherwise I can say something and it hasn't proven, you know, it hasn't proven enough. So sometimes you don't know how much you can rely on that. And so that is the the authentic sources become very important. That's why source in origin, you know, the Lamrim. And of course, it is not translated in English, but there is one book compiled by one of the Geshe, Thubten, you know, and he go through whole the great the Lama Tsonghaba, Lamrim Chemo, the great Lamrim, and with each one outlined by one line, he finds sources in different sutras. He went through more than all this canon, 100 canon, and he give with each page numbers and the lines where these teachings of each of those, all from the beginning to end, each now he go to the sutra sources, and you find all of them in the sutra sources. And he said he got that he was receiving oral transmissions of the Kangyur, the canon of, and so when he was receiving that, he saw many of the what is Lam, because normally we don't have time to read 100 canon, you know. And not only that, you have many other material that you study. Like in monastery, the material we study, most of them are commentaries by the Indian masters and some of the early Indian masters and the Tibetan masters. You know, so sometimes we don't have. There's so much material that we cannot go through each of them. So when he was receiving oral transmissions, then he began to kind of, when he was also reading together oral transmission when teacher was giving, listening also he was reading with him. And then that is when he began to see, and then this became his kind of research. He wanted to do more research. And then he went line by line and trying to find the original source within the different sutra. And so those source you cannot find in one sutra, but you find one word line or two outline in one sutra, another in different sutra, or different part of the sutras like that. And so it's wonderful, I think, to really know, you know, that it has an authentic source in sutras, each of them, every of those outline. It has neither fault nor shortcoming, for it's the complete practice. So it is a complete practice. So, you know, so if it's not complete, then sometimes there's something missing, or sometimes, you know, it's not authentic sources, then sometimes you add up many things, which might not be the accurate, you know. So here, free from those both, what is a complete and accurate, complete practice, perfectly uniting both the method and wisdom aspect of the path. As I mentioned before, you know, sometimes we have certain texts or teachings, you know, which might cover the wisdom, but maybe not wisdom, which might cover the wisdom, but here, Lamrim, it is a union of the both. And so that you don't miss, and it's complete. It provides all the level and grades of technique passed through Nagarjuna and Asanga. You know, from the Nagarjuna, mainly the wisdom path from Asanga, mainly the method path from the practice meant for beginner, starting from the very beginner on the path, to and including the final practice before full enlightenment, the stage of a non-practice, the stage of a non-practice or no more learnings. When you achieve enlightenment, then there's no more to learn, there's no more to achieve, there's no more to practice. Until we achieve that, then there is a path, what we call 5 path, 10 bhumis, in stage by stage, all explained in Lamrim, how to do that. This graduated Dharma of endless origin is like a wish-fulfilling jewel, Why is it like wish-fulfilling jewel? For through it, infinite being can easily and quickly accomplish their purpose. Through study and practice, different beings with different interests or inclination can achieve their spiritual goal. For those who have inclination and interest to fully enlightenment, it explains that path. For those who doesn't feel, enlightenment is too much, bodhisattva path is too much for me at the moment, maybe I will be more interested and inclined for self-liberations, at the moment. Even for those who wish for self-liberation, also in Lamrim, there is the explanations how to do that, the path that lead to self-liberation as well. For those who feel I'm not interested in liberations, liberation, nirvana is too far away. I'm happy if I can have better future life. I will be happy if I can have better future life, higher rebirth and better conditions in future lives, good health, good wealth, good family, all of that. Even for those who have that kind of interest, inclination, who are not interested in liberation and fully enlightenment, even for them, in Lamrim, there is explanations how to do that, the path to do that, what kind of cause and condition you need to create in order to have such better life. It is also explained here. For those who are not interested in even the future lives, who want to be happy in this life, also those different techniques, method, how to keep your mind calm, peaceful, happy, also explained here. So therefore, it's wish fulfilling, like a wish fulfilling jewel, which fulfill different interests and different inclination of different individuals. So that is it's like wish fulfilling jewel. For true infinite being can easily and quickly accomplish that individual purpose. Combining the river is like oceans, mighty ocean. Combining the river's excellent teaching of both the Theravadan vehicles, the teaching of Theravadan vehicles are here in Lamrim included within the path of small scope and middle scope. Small scope and middle scope, that those teachings and practice are same as that you find in Theravadan traditions. Okay? And Mahayana vehicles, scriptures, is like a mighty oceans. So different rivers come from different sources and it all go to the mighty oceans. And similarly, the Lamrim is like that, mighty oceans. Those different practice and teachings of different vehicles, 3 vehicles, as well as Sutra and Tantra, they all are here. They all are here. So therefore, it is like a mighty ocean. Revealing the principal point of the both Sutrayana and Vajrayana it's a complete tradition and complete teachings. Again, in some teachings, it only covers the sutras. In some teachings, it only covers the tantra or mantrayana. But here in Lamrim, it starts with sutra, and then at the end, uh, at the end, there is a little bit on tantric or mantra as well. So it is the complete teaching. Not only it is the union of method and wisdom, but also is the union of sutra and tantra. And that is also the uniqueness of Lama Tsongkhapa teaching as well. Outlining the main technique for taming the mind is easily integrated into everyday practice. When we try to study some of those, not only the sutra, even commentaries by the Nagarjuna, if you read Nagarjuna's writing, sometimes you get totally lost what he's talking about. Even Asangas, many of others great masters writing, you read, sometimes you get completely lost. You don't know what they're talking about. You have to study a lot. You need to be very sharp, very sharp, the way they use reasoning. You need to know a lot of background, how that reasoning works. You need to have a background of the opponent's view and how that logic and reason work. And so you need to know so many things study. And so sometimes it's not easy, it's difficult. But with Lamrim here, it outlined the main technique, practice, and teachings. So then it becomes easy. It's easy to understand, and also easy to integrate into practice. Being a teaching combining the lineage of the guru of Vidya Kokilika, a sage of Nagarjuna school, and Lama Selingpa, a sage of Asanga school. So again, Guru Vidya Kokila is the holder of the wisdom teachings of the Nagarjuna, whereas Lama Selingpa is the holder of the method lineage of the Asangas. And Adisha, Lama Adisha, who wrote the Lamb of the Path, which is the root for this text, he received both lineage. He received the lineage of method from Lama Selingpa in Indonesia now, spending 12 years with him, as well as he received the lineage of the wisdom from that. And so he combined, the both lineage. That is what, and that through that's what it is in Lamrim, both lineage is a precious ornament because, it possesses both lineage combined together, and he spent so many years, and Lama Adisha spent so much time and effort traveling by ocean in the oceans in that around 10th century, 11th century, for 12 months to reach where the Lama Selingpa is in order to receive all this lineage and preserve it and practice. Therefore, to hear, the teachings on Lamrim, contemplate, not only you hear, you think the meaning of that word again and again, contemplating again and again, or meditate after you have contemplated or reflected many times, and when you come to a certain understanding, conclusions or certainty, then you repeat that. So you become familiar with that by meditating again and again. Meditating is repeating it again and again and again to make it familiarize, through certain reflection, contemplation, you feel compassion, for example. But you feel only that moment. In that moment when you are contemplating, you feel that compassion. But after some time, that compassion goes away. So once you feel that compassion through certain contemplations, then you repeat that meditation again and again, again and again. So you started to feel that not only one time, but often, not only often, then all the time. That is what meditation does. So meditating upon Lamrim discourse is fortunate indeed. So here, sometime when they write commentaries, sometime first they recite the root text and then they give the commentaries later. Sometimes they give the commentary first and then they quote the root text. Here, he already give the commentaries, the Fourth Dalai Lama, Third Dalai Lama, he already give commentaries, and his commentaries to what is Lama Tsongkhapa's the experience of the song of the experience of the Lamrim. So then he is quoting from that what he has. Je Rinpoche or Lama Tsongkhapa, Song of the Stages on the Spiritual Path says, from Nagarjuna Asanga, banners, up to all the humankind, ornaments, so as he said, what is ornament, precious ornament, among the world sages, come the sublime Lamrim lineage, fulfilling all the hopes of practitioner is which fulfilling gem. Combine the stream of 1,000 teachings, it is the ocean of excellent guidance. So that is a root, which is, he just had give some commentary on that earlier. Okay, so I think we will stop here. I can take questions, couple of questions, if anyone has any questions. Yes, please. So, yeah.
Thank you. This question circles back to the start of our meeting today when you were talking about the older lamas passing on. And it's something I've been pondering a lot lately, given that the Dalai Lama is getting pretty old and he's had some health issues. What happens when he passes? We're going to have a gap of perhaps 20, 25, 30 years before his reincarnation is educated, acquires some wisdom, some life experience, and so forth. How will that void be filled during that time?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. This is something we have to ask His Holiness himself. This question has been asked, and His Holiness says when the time comes, he will let know. He said he's pondering different options, different ideas. He said there is a possibility that he appoint a Lama as his successor and not trying to find a reincarnation. The reincarnation will be there in the world, but officially not finding and saying this is the Dalai Lama. He said that is also possible. He said, that is one possible options. The second options that he could be, he will come as all the previous Dalai Lamas and officially recognized, and then go through the normal, studies. And again, you never know. Like he took the Dalai Lama at the age of 16. He was the leader of Tibet, and not only leader of Tibet in the most difficult times. When the minister, they couldn't take care of it, or regent couldn't take care of it because Chinese they asked him to take care of that teenager, 16 years old, and he managed that. All full of happiness with all experienced ministers who have been running, they were having difficulty. They didn't know what to do. And so an unmistaken Dalai Lama, something like that, they have the potentials. You don't have to wait until 20 years, 30 years, even at a very young age. They can show, those qualities, being able to have, as the Lama himself said, even at a very young age, 7, 8-year age, some of the difficult points that you find in scripture, especially in philosophy subjects, where even some of the Geshe struggles, he said he found very easy. Some of the subtle different points that in certain scriptures that you find, even some Geshes find difficult to kind of understand that or how is, and even he said because of past imprint, he found very easy, And so because you are bringing the previous imprint, all of that, so it wouldn't be just like an ordinary child. So that is one thing, also. And also he's also said it's possible that he might not appoint a successor and neither he might be recognized as a 15 Dalai Lamas officially, So nothing is kind of sure, but he said he has already have a couple of meetings with some of the senior Lama from all the traditions. And he said when the time comes, he will let them know what he wants, what will be the best for the situations, So we don't know. So when the time comes, he might. One of the recently, I saw one interview with one Lama, Taib Kyungwa Rinpoche. He's the third highest in Tibet after the Dalai Lama, Panchen Lama, and Taib Kyungwa Rinpoche. And now he lives in Germany. He disrobed, a long time ago, but and he was saying, he even asked Dalai Lama not to find his reincarnation officially, and he asked Dalai Lama if any of his disciples come to ask him to compose a prayer for super return, please not do that. And neither find my reincarnations officially. He said, I will be reincarnated wherever it is needed, and I will do. Because sometimes this system has been also exploited sometimes, misused sometimes, and he sees that, how that system can be misused as well. And I think that is some of the discussion that is going on. Because the tradition of finding a Lama and recognized officially was never there in India. There is reincarnations, but officially trying to find, he is the reincarnated Lama, it didn't exist in India. Even when Buddhism came to Tibet, it didn't exist at the very beginning. It's only much more later, when the first Karmapa passed away, their disciples started to look for his reincarnation, and they found that. And that is where the tradition started, much, much later. So therefore, whether that system helped at a certain time, whether that system is still needed or helpful or not, is something that has been kind of talked about, discussed among the society, among the monks, scholars, among the also lamas. And Tai Kyungwa Rinpoche, who is the third position in that, that is his view. And not only that, even I think 90-something, 99 or 98, Ganden Rinpoche, one of very famous Ganden Rinpoche also in Tibet, he told his disciple, and his disciple were very high lamas, don't look for my reincarnations. He said, I will know where I should be reincarnated and what I should do don't find my reincarnations. And they didn't find that. One of his disciples, Geshe Luntula, he also became abbot of Saracha. He also followed his teachers and said, don't look for my reincarnation. That's what they didn't look for his reincarnation. His disciples, Khinsu Tenyola in Sera in India, he also said, when the President Gandhi Rinpoche, oh, should we look for your reincarnation? He said, do not look for my reincarnation. Find. So therefore, I don't know what His Holiness will decide, but that is the possibility, different possibilities of, and to survive the Dharma or to preserve the Dharma is not necessary. That system need to sustain. In India, that system didn't exist. Dharma flourished for centuries. Even in Tibet, when it came, it didn't have that tradition. Still, it flourished. Japan, Korea, China, all other countries, they didn't have that system. Still, Dharma flourished. Still, it sustains. So whether that is it serves purpose at certain time in certain conditions, whether it serves same purpose or not. Pro and cons. What are the pro and cons? I think that is something being kind of talked and discussed a lot, and especially now when the Chinese government is using this for political propaganda. They have choice their own Panchen Lama. They have taken prison to the Panchen Lama, recognized by Dalai Lama at the age of 6. The youngest political prisoner, they don't know where he is, including his families. And they have been doing that with all the Dalai Lama. And they have all said they will find the Dalai Lama. They have already said, Dalai Lama cannot decide him. They are the one who is going to decide. So again, especially now with that kind of political kind of misuse in that, so it is. We don't know. So anyway, so I don't know exactly. I think that what I know, His Holiness mentioned that when the time comes, he will let know that whether his reincarnation obviously look or not, obviously recognized or not, or whether there will be a successor that he will or not. All of them are open. That he has keep it all different possibilities open. Yeah. Yes.
I saw a YouTube a few decades ago where he said the next Dalai Lama might be a female.
Yeah. Definitely. He was asked quite a few times, I guess, over the years, can the next Dalai Lama be female? And he says it's possible. He says it's possible. It depends on when the highly enlightened beings reincarnate, they will see what is the most beneficial. Even with Buddha Shakyamuni choosing in their royal families, there's a reason for that. And I think I mentioned, I don't know, one of the time, if he was not born in a royal family, if he was ordinary beings, lot of the revolution, lot of the change he brought at that time, he would not be able to do that. Because he was a prince, royal family, people were afraid for him because he had that kind of background. Like caste system. Like in he says there's no caste system. Anyone, even among his followers at the very beginning, they were resisting many changes that he want to bring. From low caste, accepting the most low caste to become a monk and give same and making the kings to prostrate to him because he's ordained. There was a lot of resistance, not only from that, even from the community there. When he tried to give ordination for the women, first time there was a lot of resistance. because all of those are not there at that time. But because he has that background, you know, it makes it a little bit easier to have those changes, you know. So like that there's reason. So same way when the highly realized enlightened being, when they choose to come back, then they decide whether it's more beneficial to come in male form or female form in that society, in that time, in that world. And as Dalai Lama mentioned, because previously is male-dominated society, coming as a man might have been more uh, beneficial. That had changed. You know, now maybe being a woman might be more beneficial in the changed circumstances. If that is the case, he will choose to come as a woman. You know. Also, I just reminded there was one from Devon, very highly, very learned Geshe, not only learned, very great practitioners, great practitioner. His Holiness very often praise him as well, not only as a great scholar, but as a great practitioner as well. And when they were looking for reincarnation, they asked His Holiness, and His Holiness said, he's reincarnated and he's studying in the monastery, a monk, let him do that. Let him follow his life as an ordinary monk. In that way, it might be more beneficial. Instead of spoiling him, you say Rinpoche, and then everyone spoil that. Everyone put on the top. Oh, everything's. And there sometimes they get spoiled. And if you are not extremely, then sometimes you don't know which direction you go. And so His Holiness says, the boy is reincarnated in his monastery, he's studying, he's doing very well, and just let him follow that, And so sometimes not recognizing officially can be better than recognizing officially, and that can bring an obstacle sometimes, even for the spiritual growth of the child. Okay, good dedications.
Michael, dedications. Thank you. Dedication prayers.
Michael, could you put up the dedication prayers for today, which are the Master Shanti Deva's verse?
Go back. Master Shanti Deva. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled
With the mind,
by a mind
down by depression. May the
blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose.
May the naked,
May the naked find clothing.
hungry.
Okay.
We're having, I think there's some computer problems. Michael, we're on may the naked find clothing.
May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May the May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world.
Also, we recite the medicine Buddha mantra 7 times. Okay, for His Holiness Dalai Lama's knee treatment. I think he's coming to US for knee treatment. And of course, at that age, it's not easy. So I think his own private office and the Tibetan government has requested people to do the medicine Buddha mantras as much as possible and dedicate for the treatment to go successfully. And so individually, you can try to do as much as you can and dedicate that. Of course, His Holiness and everyone in the world who need help for their cure, treatments. And so here we do 7 times together, and then Be Kanze Be Kanze Maha Be Kanze Be Kanze Raja Samungate So Ha Ta Be Kanze Be Kanze Maha Be Kanze Be Kanze Raja Samungate So Ha Ta Be Kanze Maha Be Kanze Ranja Samungate Soha Ta Be Kanze Maha Be Kanze Ranja Samungate Soha Ta Be Kanze Maha Be Kanze Ranja Samungate Soha Ta Be Kanze Maha Be Kanze Ranja Samungate Soha Ta Be Kanze Maha Be Kanze Ranja Samungate Soha Yawati Nyututa Membe Rabo Tukyone Doa Chijama Lupa Te Salakpa Sho Anri Rawe Korwe Shingam De Pendang Dewa Malu Chungwe Jere Senwa Tenze Gyatso Ye Shabe Site Patu Ten Gyuru Che. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.